So I've seen and heard buzz lately about the AAA games industry possibly pivoting to $100 as the standard price point. And I'm not going to lie, I firmly believe if this becomes the norm, it will completely kill the games industry, at least the AAA one. And that is completely fine with me. Join me right now as I discuss why I think this is a horrible idea. And please know that these opinions are mine and mine alone. So examples I use are going to be of games that I play frequently, or games that I have looked at in the media. But I'd be willing to bet that I'm not alone in feeling this way. So, looking at some stuff here, I shouldn't have to explain why this is a bad idea, right? We're in an economy right now that calls for a greater expenditure on things like gas, groceries, medical care, rent, mortgages, utilities, and upkeep on your home and vehicles. And now, AAA gaming has decided to reopen an old discussion about raising the price of games. The same AAA industry that has delivered underproduced, over-budgeted, preachy, generic, buggy slop. The same AAA industry that's going through massive layoffs. The same AAA industry that has repeatedly berated and antagonized the consumer base. And the same AAA industry that has completely squandered your time and trust, forcing you to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on games that underdeliver in every aspect and exist seemingly to only spit in the face of fans. Now, they want to raise prices on games to $100 at the base level. It's like, are you out of your fucking mind? I can't fathom the lack of self-awareness in the AAA gaming space. I'm not sure how we can see massive flops like Concord or Dragon Age the Veilguard, not to mention BioWare's other flops like Andromeda or Anthem, or Bethesda's piss-poor Starfield Shattered Space DLC, and have the industry say, you know what? I don't think fans are paying enough. I don't think gamers are giving us enough money. It's madness, and I'd even go as far as to say that the $70, the $69.99 price point for new games right now is still too high. Let me throw myself under the bus here, just so you don't think I'm picking on games I hate. Despite what I just said about Starfield's Shattered Space DLC, I liked the base game. Loved base game Starfield, sank hundreds of hours into it. I bought that game at retail price, $70. It's not a $70 game. It's not even close to a $70 game. I think it's a $40 game, maybe $45, like if I'm being generous. But I think that's really the crux of this whole issue. I wouldn't recommend people paying the full AAA gaming price for a game I actually enjoy. It's just not worth it, and it seems there's really no end in sight. You know, I'm looking at some numbers right here. Anthem only sold, like around 2023, it was reported that it sold 5 million lifetime units. And Veilguard so far has only hit 1.5 million players. So the sales are probably less than that, and EA is just trying to pad out some numbers for investors because that was just the best metric that they could use to pitch at an investor call. So, let's also look at how games are treating their audience. They treat you like imbeciles who need guidance, uncultured brutes who need education on modern courtesies and politics because you're too stupid to form your own opinion. Or if your opinion doesn't firmly align within their goalposts, you're a toxic chud who isn't welcome in the gaming conversation. This has become all too common in AAA spaces, right? Look at all the failures of 2024, where people saw something divisive and complained, only to be told, this game isn't made for you. Don't like it, don't play it. Then, the player takes that advice to heart, and what do you know? The game fails, and somehow that same gamer is to blame for the piss-poor reception to a shitty game. And when I look at my own channel's metrics, right, I see that my viewers are largely, let's see here, like 25 to 35 years of age. Roughly my age, right? In my experience, meaning among my friend group who are largely the same age as me, I'm 30, by the way, and a lot of us are working multiple jobs, married, and quite a few of us have kids, sometimes multiple kids, right? And in some cases, when the cost of everything is rising, you have a mortgage, a rent, a car payment, and possibly kiddos to take care of. I almost said to get rid of. But when you got kids to take care of, right? That little bit of spare cash you have it's a lot more precious, and you're going to be a lot more choosy about where you throw it. So when you are a gamer, right, in these modern circumstances, does it really seem appealing to go buy Human Resources the Veilguard and its $20 fucking deluxe edition upgrade? Doesn't seem like that to me. I mean, look at other games. Look at other games right now that were coming out for the same price. How about you want to throw your money at Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Diablo Immortal, Redfall, or, you know, Dustborn and their fucking colorful cast of mutants? Of course not. Especially not when, for a similar price, you can get something like Space Marine 2, a new game that is much higher quality and has in my experience, a pretty robust multiplayer. And Pal World is a $30 game when it's not on sale. Manor Lords, $40. Risk of Rain 2, $25. And if you really want to lose yourself in an awesome game, Worldbox God Simulator is $20. It's an early access game with more polish than all of those games I just mentioned combined. With more polish than BioWare's last 3 releases. And, you know, let's look at a couple other games. Outward is on sale right now for less than $5 until February 3rd. I don't know too much about it, but people in our community Discord love talking about it. Kenshi, $30. You really want a CRPG fix? You want something that feels a little bit like a Baldur's Gate 3 and a Dragon Age Origins? Go play Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. That CRPG is $10 less, sitting at $50, and Endless Space 2 is $10 until January 30th. You know, I really, as I said earlier, I can't fathom gaming media and the gaming industry's absolute lack of self-awareness. I mean, maybe the gaming industry I can explain when the media is like just constantly glazing them, but at the same time, I mean, look at some of these numbers. There's no way they can look at these numbers and this lost money and still not understand the massive disconnect that they are having between their audiences. You know, the disconnect is with activism, and that's exactly what it is. It's just activism has replaced artistry, and the people that are suffering most are the players, because they're losing beloved franchises to stupidity and having recreational options taken from them. I mean, I always feel bad when people are losing their jobs, right? But I find it hard to sympathize with game devs who are talking about layoffs when they're actively antagonizing their audience. And they do everything in their power to convince them not to buy the games. And ultimately, they're getting exactly what they want. Now, I'm sorry that I kind of went on that rant. If you watch the content on my channel, you'll see that most of my content it's very positive, it's very wholesome. But it's just lately I've just been getting so sick of just the way we as a community of gamers are being treated. You know, our trusted media outlets have now become corporate shills, which happened a long time ago. You know, we all knew that. But now we're just being actively bullied by them, and it's very bizarre. And then when we fight back, you know, the most of us don't have those kind of platforms, so we're just treated as outcasts by society. And it's weird because look at the failure of some of these more modern games, these games that appeal to an audience that doesn't exist, right? Look at them failing in droves. But then when you look at Steam numbers for something like Fallout 4 or Skyrim or Fallout New Vegas, you know, it's still crushing it. Go look at the Witcher games, go look at Cyberpunk. And that was a game that had a troubled launch too. I've been avoiding these games, and it's not even specifically because of financial reasons. Like, this YouTube channel is a legally registered business. I am an incorporation here with what I do. An incorporated media company that specifically focuses on generating content related to video games. If I buy a video game, that goes right on my taxes. That is a tax write-off for me, and I'm still choosing not to buy this dog shit. If I can leave you with anything, you as the consumer, please remember, you have all the power. You have all of it. I know it's difficult to not buy a game in a franchise you love, especially even if that game is like just complete dog shit, and it's insulting to the fans. And for some people, that's easier. For me, it was difficult to not buy Dragon Age the Veilguard, because I've been wanting a new Dragon Age game for a long time. I love Dragon Age. And it just... Look at how that game flopped. And that was because we banded together and chose to do something about it. And we affected positive change. A lot of people I saw when these games were failing were like, all these games are failing. This is such a bad year for 2024. I saw these games failing and I was like, this is one of the best years in gaming I've seen in a long time. Are you fucking kidding me? It doesn't bring me any joy to say this, but I'm hoping that moving forward, it's my great hope that somebody in the games industry, looking at a lot of these numbers, I'm just hoping that, honestly, I'm kind of hoping that $100 does become the new norm for games, just because I want to see AAA crash and burn so hard. People have complained that if there's a video game crash, oh my god, what's going to happen? Did you forget that indie devs are still a thing? Indie devs have been out here crushing it for a long time. Kenshi was made by the fucking one guy. You know what I mean? Look at Pal World. Took the fucking whole world by storm. So, Manor Lords, another one, just took the whole world by storm as well. Saber Interactive, who did Space Marine 2, I mean, that game wasn't made on an inflated budget. Endless Space 2 is another game wasn't made on an inflated budget. That was made by kind of a scrappy small group of people. I mean, sure, they had Sega backing them, but it wasn't like a major production. And so I find it very difficult to understand why we as gamers have to pay the price for these overinflated budgets and larger companies' inability to accurately predict their own market trends. Right? They can't look at their own data and they can't extrapolate when something's going to fail. And I also am finding it incredibly hard to believe that devs are actively going out of their way to antagonize their own player base. And that's why they're all fucking failing. And I hope 2025, I hope we see more studio closures. I hope we see more of these AAA layoffs. And I hope we see more indie games really rising to the top. And now, I hate to say that because I never want to see people lose jobs, right? But I do think there's a lot of people in the games industry right now that don't belong in the games industry. And I'm going to be glad to see them get weeded out in 2025. Now, I don't think I'm going to continue kind of speaking on this kind of stuff in the future because I don't like to get involved in this kind of nonsense, but it's just the $100 thing really got me going. Like I said a few minutes ago, a lot of the content on this channel is pretty wholesome, pretty positive, and that's kind of the mood I like to keep. But if you like this video, please consider subscribing. And if you didn't like the video, leave me a dislike. You're not going to offend me. I understand. I need to know. I need to know what people are doing because I need to gauge how I want to make content, how I want to do things. So I hope moving forward, 2025 gives me reasons to be positive, to make more positive videos about games. But we also have a Discord server you can check in the link in the description below. You can come over there, you hang out with us. It's not very negative in the Discord, I promise you. Everybody really seems to get along, and we have a lot of great chats in there. We keep politics and nonsense out of it. We strictly focus on games or just kind of chit-chatting about real life. But it's a very positive, very encouraging place, and I encourage you to come join us, come hang out. And more than any of that, if none of that is your jam, I'm so grateful that you took time out of your day to be here with me, and I will see you in the next one.